Very interesting. I'm looking at your greatest hits album here, and all of the songs have been written by you, well, at least by you with somebody else, and I find that just something else that's super, especially, well, the cut we'll play in a few minutes, Gene. And you said you didn't expect that one to go anywhere.
No, you know, my first film score was a film called Joanna, and I wrote a song called I'll Catch the Sun, and came back and recorded the song. I did the soundtrack in London. Came back, recorded the song, put it out, and expected it to be a hit because I liked it so much. And nothing happened. Of course, over the years, there are people like, well, Robert Goulet, Jerry Vale, people like that, people with big voices, have made the song a standard without it ever being a hit. It's sold over 1 million records now. But Gene, Bob Crew picked it up and recorded it with Oliver. Now there are about 300 recordings on it, and the thing became a smash hit. And it's strange. You just never know what's going to be a hit. Like you've got Volume Hits Greatest 4 in front of you, or Greatest Hits Volume 4. I never expected to get to Volume 1. So I'm really, and Volume 5 is about to come out. So I'm very pleased about that. I mean, it's nice to know that you've had a certain amount of longevity and that you've been lucky and you've had not only yourself to be able to sing your songs. It's nice, you know, to be able to go your own way and do your own things. And if people like them, fine. And if they don't, they're free to reject them because you've got a lot of other people who have been good enough to record the songs. And very often, of course, it hurts like hell if I turn on the radio and hear Sinatra singing Love's Been Good to Me. I'd much rather hear me sing it, although he sings it better.
Oh, well. Personal opinion. Hey, why don't we hear from, we'll hear from you right now. And, Gene, big hit for you. And, of course, Rod McKuen, and one of my most favorite songs, and Gene. And we were just talking about Cleo Lane's new album out, and if you haven't heard it, by all means, go out and buy it. It's just a fantastic album, day by day. And Rod McKeown's company did produce it, the Buddha label.
Yeah, well, Buddha distributes that album for us, but my company actually is called Standing Records. And I started it kind of out of frustration because I would make records, and record companies were very good to me. They'd allow me, you know, the budget to make them, and then afterward it seemed like they wouldn't promote them the way they should be. And I felt to myself, well, you really got to care about what you do. So I started buying back some things and releasing them. Then I realized that, gee, if there's a market for me, what about Doris Day and Dinah Shore and Cleo Lane and Broadway shows that nobody's recording and nostalgia and things. We just put our new album out. It's going to come as a shock to her if she's listening, because I know she's down here now, because she doesn't know that I released it. But we put an album together called Nostalgia Goes Bananas, and it's got a big bunch of bananas on the cover. And it has like Pet Clark singing Clancy Lord the Boom at age 12. It has Phyllis Diller doing Rockabye Baby. It has Jeanette MacDonald doing Dear When I Met You, Raymond Navarro doing Love Songs of the Nile.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm even doing something called My Mother's Eyes from Lucky Boy, you know. Yes, so really some outrageous things. We're finally going to put one out called No Nostalgia, which is the last of our nostalgia things. And it's the nostalgia album to end all nostalgia. I play things backwards, everything.
Yeah, I love to hear the nostalgia. Nostalgic music is just so great. It can put you back into the mood of the time. You can, especially if you remember the year, that just puts you right there. You know.
Well, one of the things about nostalgia, I think, is we're living in such a brittle world now, and so many things have gone haywire, and yet it's still a neat country. I mean, I travel all over the world. I don't want to live anyplace else, but people are looking for escape things, and when you find that 2 years ago or 5 years ago can suddenly be nostalgia, let alone 20 years ago, because in a way it was a freer time or a better time. It doesn't mean that the country's gone down the drain or anything, but at the moment things are a little bit tough. They'll get better, but people they don't want to have the news shot at them out of a shotgun. They want a little quiet, and they want a little bit of memories, like you said.
Yeah, we lived so well in the 60s. The 60s were just so prosperous, and it's right now the 60s music is nostalgia. All of a sudden it seems to have come back at us, and we've heard a lot of people do the nostalgic trip, and it's into the 60s, especially new songs out. Anne Marie has a new song out, an old Beatles song from the 60s, and I just love it. I'm glad to hear that people are actually...
Even Elton John's new single is a Beatles song.
Right. It was called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and just something else. It's true, because people are so uptight right now, and everything is shaky. Everything is rather unsettled and jumpy, and nobody knows what's really going to happen. And so it's good. It's good to release, to get back and just think about the good times. And why don't we get right into Cleo Lane here, and then we'll hear from your brand new single that you've got out now. Hasn't been
it's not even out. It hasn't even been released. It won't be released for about 2.5 weeks, so you've really got to jump on it.
Yeah, this is about my favorite song off this album. It's written by David Gates, and it's Naked With You. She does a beautiful job on this. I love it. That's Cleo Lane and a Dynamite song and a Dynamite album put out by, of course, Rod McKuen. And he's with us, our special guest here on KLAV Las Vegas. And we were talking once again about you tried to sing rock and you lost your voice.
Yeah, I was in the 50s and I had a rock hit record. And so I went out and I performed. I did about 80 concerts in 8 weeks. And I was singing right from my throat. And then I came back and got booked into the lounge at the Copacabana. At that time, by the way, I alternated. It was a rock. We were doing rock acts up in the lounge while the big stars were down below. I alternated with a group called Wayne Newton and the Newton Brothers.
Oh, was that Wayne Newton?
Wayne Newton and Wayne Newton.
Ah.
But it was really ridiculous. I did, both of us, we did 4 shows a night, 7 nights a week. I did it for 4 months. At the end of that time, the inside of my throat looked like hamburger. And the doctor said I'd never sing again, and most likely I'd never speak again. And sure enough, I lost my voice totally. And through therapy, I had to learn to get it back. It took me I was in the hospital for about 5 months and then about 6 months of recuperation. And then on this last trip, I was telling you while we were off the air, I did 240 concerts in 14 countries in about 11 months. And now I have a 2.5 octave range, which is about a half an octave more than Eddie Williams.
That's for sure.
So that's kind of a nice feeling. And I don't know, it's almost like showing off now, because now all those notes that I used to kind of slough off, I just soar with them. Like I made new recordings of, I don't know, other people's material, very rangy things, even songs of mine that are very rangy I never could sing before.
You just kind of lop off the high voice and the high parts, and you kind of fake it, right?
Yeah, I used to. I'd take them a tone down, but now it's fun to hit them straight on.
Yeah, that's something else. That's the great comeback from Rod McKuen, from no voice to now, and you're singing better than ever before. And let's get into this new song you've got out now. It's not been released yet.
No, it's brand new, and it was written, the melody was written 7 years ago in France, and a friend of mine wrote the melody, and there were a lot of problems with the publication in America, and the rights were tied up. So I tried for about 7 years to get them, and I finally did get the right to do it. And it came just before I was going to do a concert in London. So the day before, I said, look, I want to do this. I'm going to write this song. It's like, If You Go Away, I had the arrangement written on that song, and I wrote the lyric to it, I hate to admit this, in a taxi cab on the way to the studio. Because I knew I didn't want to disappoint a musician. I didn't want to keep musicians working there for no reason at all. It was in the days when you couldn't, overdub if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. So the same thing happened here. I wrote this lyric, the day I did the concert, and we liked it so much we went in the next day and recorded it. And as I say, it's 5 days old, and it's called If I Could Fly.
Well, let's hear it then. Yeah. Boy, that's nice, easy to listen to, and we have Rod McKuen with us today on George Thomas and Things on a Saturday afternoon on KLAV Radio. And if you just joined us, we've been talking with Rod and playing some of his music and some of the stuff he's put out. And we both agreed on one thing. We like easy-sounding music, stuff that doesn't have to take you and grab you and
strangle you.
Strangle your ears. Another interesting thing we brought up about the noise levels at discotheques, rock concerts, it's just terrible for your ears. They compared the decibel range of a rock concert or a rock band at peak to that of a thunderclap.
Well, I love going to rock concerts, but I didn't learn until it was almost too late that you're supposed to go with earplugs, and you actually hear through the, you actually hear as much of the earplugs, and it doesn't destroy, as you say, your ear.
You can pick it up through the bones in your head. It comes at you so loud. That's interesting. What do you have going now? Are you making tours or anything?
Well, a lot of things are coming up. I'm going back to Los Angeles and do a concert at the Schubert Theater on the 16th. And on the 18th, I go back to San Francisco. Be the first time in a long time. It's my hometown.
Left your heart there, right?
Well, no, it's just that you go. It's hard to go back to where you came from because they're really difficult to you. So I'm going into the Fairmont Hotel for 10 days, 2 shows a night, and I've been offered a couple of engagements down here in Vegas, and I haven't really decided where I want to play or what exactly I want to do, but I just came down this time to sort of look over the land and to see Liza Minnelli's opening last night, and to of course see Pet Clark, who's an old friend of mine. She and I do a lot of writing together.
I love
most people don't know she writes. She writes
yeah, that's right. She's really talented. I love her.
She really is, and so it's just been one of those really flash trips, and I got to go back home now, back into the world of reality, because I used to live in Vegas. When I lived in Vegas, I was about 8 or 10 years old, and
we were just a whistle stop back then.
Well, there were 2 hotels on the Strip. There was the El Rancho Vegas, and the Last Frontier, which is now the New Frontier.
Right. They went through quite a few changes there too. Well, let's play a couple of things here so we can pay for our show and stuff.
And let me get out of your way here, too.
Okay.
And leave the afternoon to you and to your listeners. And just say, really, George, thank you very much for letting me barge in. And, I appreciate it very
Anytime.
much.
Come along.
Terrific.
Rod McKuen's been our special guest this afternoon on KLAV Radio, and thanks a lot, Rod, for showing up today.
Thank you.
KLAV Radio.